Imagine a man sitting in deep meditation, tears streaming down his face. Suddenly, a wandering ascetic steps forward and picks up a jagged shard of glass, and he presses it hard into the space right between the weeping man's eyebrows until dark blood forms. Then the ascetic leans in and delivers a staggering command. He tells the bleeding man to focus his mind entirely on that point of physical pain, forge a mental sword out of pure will, and use it to execute the very goddess he has worshipped his entire life. The man being ordered to commit this mental heresy is Ramakrishna Paramhansa, one of the most revered mystics of the 19th century. In this moment, he is paralyzed by a psychological deadlock. The path to spiritual liberation required a man to mentally slaughter the single object of his lifelong devotion. Ramakrishna approached religion as an experimenter. For him, the divine was something to be directly observed and felt in the physical world, not a series of concepts to be memorized from a book. This intense sensitivity started early. As a young boy, he saw a flock of pure white cranes flying across a pitch-black storm cloud. The sheer aesthetic contrast of that moment overwhelmed him so completely that he collapsed into a profound, spontaneous trance. As chief priest at the Dakshineshwar Kali temple near Calcutta, he treated the black stone idol of goddess Kali as a living, breathing entity. He fed the statue by hand, talked to her like a mother, and wept if he felt separated. He would rub his face against the ground until she returned to his awareness. This is dualism. The worshipper is bound to God through a line of devotion. But philosophically, this love is a psychological cage. While there is a me worshiping a God, separation remains, preventing the mind from experiencing a unified reality. This brings us to the man with the shard of glass, Totapuri, a fierce, wandering ascetic who recognized the immense spiritual capacity inside the weeping temple priest. Totapuri diagnosed Ramakrishna's problem immediately. He told him that to reach Nirvikalpa Samadhi, a state of formless, boundaryless awareness, he had to let go of his love for Kali. That devotion was his final roadblock. But Ramakrishna found it impossible. Every time he sat down to empty his mind into the formless void, his brain would instantly generate the intoxicating, comforting image of the mother goddess. It exposes a difficult irony on the spiritual path. Sincere emotional devotion is often seen as the goal of religion, yet for someone trying to merge completely with reality, that same devotion becomes the heaviest anchor keeping the mind tied to form. So Totapuri takes the shard of glass and cuts into Ramakrishna's forehead. He uses sharp, physical pain to force the priest's wavering concentration onto a single, inescapable point. The instruction is precise. Totapuri commands Ramakrishna to take the exact same creative mental energy that he uses to summon the vision of Kali, and instead use it to forge a weapon against her. In a final act of psychological sacrifice, Ramakrishna takes that mental sword and executes the image of the goddess in his mind's eye. With this strike, he severs his deepest emotional attachment. The effect is instantaneous. The individual ego collapses. His breathing nearly stops. Ramakrishna's consciousness detaches from his physical body and plunges into the infinite, formless state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where he remains completely unresponsive for 3 days. By killing the goddess, Ramakrishna wasn't destroying his faith. He was shattering the illusion of separation. To become completely one with the universe, the individual I and its attachments had to be erased.
Having pushed his own tradition to its furthest edge, Ramakrishna began treating other world religions as empirical sciences. He wanted to test if foreign faiths, practiced perfectly, would lead to the same formless truth. He started with Islam. He stopped visiting the Kali temple, dressed as a Muslim, and prayed 5 times a day. After 3 days of strict immersion, he reported a vision of a radiant prophet, which then dissolved into the formless realization of Allah. Later, he turned to Christianity. He meditated on the teachings of the Bible until, while walking in a garden, he reported a vision of Jesus Christ physically merging into his own body. These systematic experiments provided him with experiential proof. Different religious forms, rituals, and names were merely different cultural interfaces pointing toward the exact same underlying consciousness. This led to his conclusion, encapsulated in a simple Bengali phrase, Yatamat Tato Path. As many faiths, so many paths. This directly counters the normal human instinct to protect specific rituals and names. Historically, followers have defended the packaging of their faith rather than examining the contents. But Ramakrishna didn't ask people to abandon their specific religions. Instead, he advised them to walk their chosen path so intensely that they eventually outgrow the need for it. The life of Ramakrishna Paramhansa suggests that enlightenment is not about worshiping the correct form of God. It is about the relentless intensity with which you break your own attachments, until you realize that all rivers flow in